What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we get started, I just want to say thank God for another day and another opportunity. Now, as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, today I got a super rare and special build in store for y'all today. Gonna be called the Sharpshooter, but this is gonna be a catfish build, and we're gonna be able to get slashing takeover. We're also gonna be able to get contact dunks with 99 plus driving dunk and driving layup. So as you can see from the gameplay, I'm telling y'all this build is definitely going to be able to do it all. You can even run big if you wanted to, but when it comes down to the defensive end, I'm telling y'all it's definitely going to hold its own weight. Now, if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family, and I would appreciate it if everybody went ahead and smashed that like button. But go ahead and comment down TG for thank God, as well as where you're tuning in from watching today, and I most definitely will hit y'all back with a response. But I'm telling you, you have everything that you're gonna need out of this build. The shooting is definitely gonna be there, but then when it comes down to the finishing, I'm happy that I was able to get this build name with contact dunks, and then when it comes down to the playmaking, you're definitely going to be able to ISO, and on top of all that, I'm telling y'all the defense is really going to hold this build together perfectly. So to get started, I'm going to put it under the point guard position. So when it comes down to the body settings for this build, this is definitely one of the biggest factors in maintaining the build name with the contact dunks. So for the height, I'm going to go 6'9", 187 for the weight, 6'10 for the wingspan, and then when it comes down to the body shape, if you want to take with the most space, I would go with built, but today you can even go with defined. I'm telling y'all, it comes down to your own preference. But from here, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the attributes in the build. And the first area that I'm going to get into is going to be the physicals. Alright, so to start with the speed, I'm going to go with the 76, 81 acceleration. For now, I'm going to skip over the strength, go with the 75 vertical for the contact dunks. Then for the stamina, put a 90, and this is going to set us up perfectly with the physicals. Now, I'm telling y'all, when it comes down to this build, I went back and forth with making sure I was able to get the same build name, but also getting the most badges as well as the most out of my attributes. So when it comes down to the physicals, I promise you this is going to be the very best way that you can set it up with. Now for the speed, once you get that gym rat badge, this is going to be an 80, 85 acceleration. Then when it comes down to the vertical, if you go with the 76, this is going to make it an 80, but for now it'll be a 79. Then when it comes down to the stamina, you could even go with 86, just so that way once you get gym rat, you'll be able to get that 90 threshold. But for now, this is how I'm going to leave the physicals. Now let's go ahead and get into the finishing. So as you can see, when it comes down to this area, we get 14 badges. So for the close shot, 60, 80 driving layup, 87 driving dunk, and that's the max you can actually go with. Then for the standing dunk, put this to a 54. Now for tier 1, the main badges that I'm really looking at, we get Silver Acrobat, but then also Hall of Fame Giant Slayer and Pro Touch. I like Silver Slithery, and then when it comes down to tier 2, Limitless Takeoff on Gold, and then Silver Fearless Finisher. Now if you do add on extra badges towards this build, we're going to be able to also equip Posterizer as our core badge, but I'm telling y'all this is definitely one of the best sharpshooting setups that I've seen when it comes down to the finishing. Now from here, let's go ahead and check out the shooting. So for the mid-range shot, I'm going to go with an 88, 92 three-pointer, and a 77 free throw. Now as you can see, we get 28 badges, and every single tier 1 badge is on Hall of Fame. Now we get Space Creator, Mini Magician, Amped, and then also Volume Shooter. Now when it comes down to tier 2, Agent 3 is going to be essential, but we do get it on gold. Then the rest of the tier 2 badges are Hall of Fame. And then when it comes down to tier 3, all 4 of these badges are on the gold tier. Now I like the fact that we do get Limitless Range. That's going to be the main badge that I'm looking at. From here, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the playmaking. Now for the pass accuracy, I'm going to go 78, 85 ball handle with the 75 speed with the ball. Now we get 20 badges, and then out of tier 1, I'm looking at Hall of Fame Ankle Breaker and then Gold Hyperdrive. Now from there, when it comes down to tier 2, we're also able to get Quick First Step out of this build, and coming out of tier 2, it's really going to help us out when it comes down to badge points. Now for tier 3, this is one of the most solid areas. We get Silver Handles for Days, Clamp Breaker, and Killer Combos. And then honestly, we're going to need Unpluckable on gold, so I think this is one of the better setups as well. If you want to make any changes when it comes down to these areas, I'm telling y'all, you definitely can do so. Make sure that you at least maintain the finishing. Then when it comes down to the three-pointer, do not go anything lower than an 88. The playmaking is pretty solid, but I'm sure you can drop this into the 70s for the ball handle. I'm going to leave it like this for my own preference. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the defense now. So as you can see, we get 16 badges, and then when it comes down to the interior and perimeter defense, I'm gonna go 60 for the interior, 86 perimeter. Now for the steal, you got 78, 75 block with a 65 defensive rebound. Now we get 16 badges, but if you do add the extra 4 badges from my career, you're gonna be able to get this to around 20. And as you can see for tier 1, we get box out beast, glove, and then post lockdown all on bronze. Now I like the fact that we do get menace as well as pick dodger on gold. Now for tier 2, Challenger and Chase Down Artist both on gold are going to be solid. Then we get Silver Clamps and Interceptor, both of these are good. And then when it comes down to tier 3, I'm going to go ahead and use my core badge as Anchor. Pogo Stick is solid, but this is going to be the more important badge. Now as you can see, when it comes down to this build, we have the playmaking like I showed y'all from the gameplay. You're definitely going to be able to shoot, especially if you make a good jump shot. Now when it comes down to the defensive end, on the perimeter, you're definitely able to hold your own. And then even on the inside, especially with the height of 6'9". Now with the physicals, remember you get a +4 to this area. And then when it comes down to the finishing, I think this makes it a complete catfish build. We get the contact dunks that we wanted, and the max that we can go with is an 87. And we also do get silver posterizer and a good amount of other badges when it comes down to the finishing. Now from here, let's go ahead and check out the takeovers. So the first takeover that we get, the slashing. Second, we get the shot creating. Sharpshooting coming in at third. And then finally, we do get that lockdown takeover. So all of these are going to make a huge difference in what this build is actually able to do. For my preference, the first one that I'm going to go with is going to be finishing moves, and this is going to allow us to get a +10 towards our finishing area. Now if you want to break ankles more often, I would go with the shot creating takeover. If you want to hit from deep, I would definitely go with limitless range, but we already get it on a gold badge, so what I'm going to pick is going to be extreme clamps, or you can even go with perimeter badge drop. I think this is going to be more of a two-way slasher type build, especially when it comes down to the shooting. I'm telling y'all, they're really not going to be able to know what you're going to be able to do. Let's go ahead and check out the build name to make sure that we made it correctly. We get both Lonzo and LaMelo Ball for comparisons, and as y'all can see together, we have created the Catfish Sharpshooter build, and we're able to get contact dunks, the pro dribble moves. I'm telling y'all, the defense is there, more importantly the finishing, and then when it comes down to the playmaking, this is going to be one of the better ISO builds at 6'9". Now if you made it this far into the video, let me know in the comments, what do y'all think about this build and would you make any changes? And don't forget to go ahead and comment down TG as well as where you're tuning in from watching today. And I'm telling y'all, I'm going to hit you back with a response, but from here, let's go ahead and check out what this build is going to be looking like maxed out with the badges. So since we did go with the slashing takeover, if you do buy your own boost, which is a +5, so right there you get a +15. Now if you have a teammate that does have on floor general on Hall of Fame, in total that's +19, so you're going to be able in slashing takeover to get a 99+ driving dunk and a driving layup. Now if you went with the shot creating or the sharpshooting takeover, that's going to apply when it comes down to the mid-range and the 3-pointer, but since we did pick the lockdown takeover with boost as well as our takeover activated, we're going to be able to get a 100+ perimeter defense and bring that steal all the way up into the 90s. So just something to take into consideration, but from here, let's go ahead and check out the layout of the badges. So to start out with the finishing, for tier 1, I'm going to go with Hall of Fame Giant Slayer as well as Pro Touch. Now from there, I'm also going to put on Silver Slithery. Now for tier 2, I'm going to use my core badge as Gold Limitless Takeoff, and then I'm also going to use my own badge points for Silver Fearless Finisher. Now remember, if you do add on the extra badges towards this build, we're going to be able to put on Posterizer on the Silver tier. Now look, if you do take off Fearless Finisher, you need only 2 extra badges, and then we're going to be able to equip this badge. For now, I'm going to go with Fearless Finisher, but I'm telling you, getting all the extra badges makes a huge difference, especially when it comes down to the badge layouts. So from here, let's go ahead and get into the shooting. So for tier 1, I'm going to go with Hall of Fame Amped, Space Creator, and then Volume Shooter. Now for tier 2, I like Gold Agent 3, Silver Green Machine, and then when it comes down to tier 3, the 2 badges that I'm going to run with are going to be Gold Blinders, and then my core badge is going to be Gold Limitless Range. Now for the shooting, we have everything that we need. We're able to fade with Agent 3. We're also able to hit from deep, and if you did pick the sharpshooting takeover, that's just going to make this build so much more overpowered when it comes down to shooting. Now with Space Creator, this is definitely going to allow you to hit different types of shots. Volume Shooter, and then Amped, I'm telling y'all, this is one of the better builds when it comes down to the shooting. From here, let's go ahead and get into the playmaking. Now for tier 1, I went with Hall of Fame Ankle Breaker, Gold Hyperdrive, and then Silver Break Starter. For tier 2, I like Quick First Step on Gold, and then when it comes down to tier 3, I went with core silver handles for days as well as silver killer combos with my own badge points. Now if you wanted to go with unpluckable, you definitely can do so, but I'm telling y'all, this is my preference of badges when it comes down to this build. Now if you want to go about it differently, you definitely can do so. You can even take off ankle breaker, but I'm telling you, this badge has definitely been super useful for season 1 and season 2. So I would go ahead and test it out if you have not used this badge already. It makes a huge difference on the playmaking end. The animations that you get out of it, super overpowered, but even more so, it allows you to get open and straight to the rim. Now from here, let's go ahead and end it off with the defensive. So for tier 1, I went with bronze box out beast, glove, and then post lockdown. Now for tier 2, I like gold chase on artist, and then the 2 silver badges that I'm going with, clamps as well as interceptor. Now for my core badge, I went with anchor, and this is pretty much what the setup of badges for the defensive end is going to look like. Now if you wanted to, you can change anything based to your own preference and liking, and that's also going to apply to the attributes as well as the height, weight, and wingspan. But I think when it comes down to this build, I brought y'all everything that we're going to need. Remember, we have the contact dunk, so we're able to finish inside. Then when it comes down to the shooting, you do get that option of limitless range takeover, but right now if you don't pick that one, we do still get it on the gold badge. Then when it comes down to the playmaking, you're able to break ankles and still able to ISO. And then on the defensive end, we're going to be able to hold our own on any build 1 through the 5. So if you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you so much for your support. Go ahead and comment down TG for thank God as well as where you tune in from watching today. And with all that being said, man, I just want to say thank you so much, God, for another day and another opportunity. And man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. And I would appreciate it if everybody went ahead and smashed that like button. Turn on post notifications if you want to be a part of the Rich family. And with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.